St. Paul public school leaders are working to convince voters to approve a multi-million-dollar referendum. The district facing an uncertain future with the end of the Department of Education and cuts in federal funding. Now, Sarah Kilvey breaks it down for us.
We're outside one of the many St. Paul schools that would benefit if a funding referendum passes in November. But the federal government wants to abolish the Department of Education. So what happens next?
We don't know what's coming down the pipeline in terms of funding, particularly from the federal level.
Quentin Watumo Chama is a kindergarten teacher in St. Paul. He says teachers and parents alike are concerned about the rapidly changing education plans from the federal level.
Very, very concerning. People are scared. People, teachers, educators, families, community, they all have a lot of concerns from what they hear coming out of D.C.
Watumo Chama is also worried about the specific groups of students who could have been hurt by a temporary funding freeze from the federal government this summer.
Students with language needs, our special education students, it is very, very concerning, and it causes just a lot of more stress and anxiety.
That funding freeze was overturned after Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison sued the Trump administration. After the freeze was announced, however, it was up to finance experts like Tom Sager to find a backup plan.
School district funding has always been a challenge. What's new, however, is the uncertainty of these federal funds.
Sager is the executive finance director for SPPS.
Without those funds, there are certain things we wouldn't be able to do, and it's the students who will pay the price with that.
Even with that federal funding restored, Sager says education spending hasn't kept up with inflation, which is why the district is asking voters to support a $37 million referendum.
This is something we really need to do, not because we believe federal funding is going away for sure, but because we know that we have to keep pace with inflationary pressures.
And it's devastating, in all honesty.
Meanwhile, in Minneapolis, Khalik Rogers says the potential funding cuts could be devastating, but also present a unique opportunity.
The people need answers, and they need results.
Rogers, the director of Catalyst for System Change, says this is the time for more people to become involved in education.
Create your mini Justice League within your community and within your friend groups and so on.
For others like Quentin, the referendum is an opportunity for St. Paul to look inward for support.
We can't control what happens in D.C., right? A lot of that chaos is going to continue. But this November, we have the opportunity to make sure that we're securing our future for our kids.
The St. Paul referendum election will happen in just over a month on November 4th.